Oh,
Yeah.
okay. As a skin,
Yeah, I want to see Dawn in the game. That's hands down, okay? But why? I will not say, the comedy element. I'm too PC. Neptune, who's your third one?
that's tough. I want to go for. And who else can bring in a little
This man. For me, it's gonna be Dawn, Blink, as well as are you capable of in a game of Battle Royale. He inspired so many. That the team didn't focus on the pro scene all the
AJ.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And then his emote can just be him doing the Totoga.
Hopefully there's stuff, because we've seen, like, face to face, I saw Blink. I was
nervous. He was squeezing the air out of my lungs, right? Dominance in Call of Duty Mobile. Yeah, it's out there. The battle is on the game.
for the community. But Almighty, though they have put in a little damage,
Then 6, and one of them was actually at a...
so those who can bring in the flare SMRS gameplay, Matoy is just grabber in the process and avoid.
Still around, but every time I see you, you only remind me of Winter, bro. That's how combat ability, and as long as you play that strategy
to us, and they were able to maintain good position with that Jackal and pulling them to get a lot of kills, AJ.
players on the battlefield, and yet another one sweeping in for the drop-off in this angle, and no teams stand there, which is super lucky for Almighty Prime.
So many times, and they lost, and this time I will be moving in there with that parachute, so their position will
Everybody so much, but in towards us, regardless of strategy, when you've got this many teams and this many players.
we'll have to see if that'll be happening. Back would be towards the 4 Kings, but from the other side of this air at this point, wait for
Guy down on the ground for sure with the kind of accuracy that he had in the previous one. He's traded out by Meow. Instinct out of nowhere, dude.
And from earlier, we have 14 teams. This time, we have 7. Instinctively, Vagabonds Esports is still alive. And when these guys are alive in the final circle, it is for everyone.
Just taking shots, spot shots, left, right, center. Vagabonds Esports now, opportunity to retaliate again. They find the players of KKPG Sports. Not a lot of traveling to do. Black taken out by Yato, and as Blue hunts down up at Vagabonds Esports.
They did well in kills, but not so much in a win. But this time, they started slow from the start, mid to the final moment. This is 9 kills to their name, not so much AJ, but this is the usual tactics, the usual gameplay that we see from Vagabonds Esports.
Yeah, this is more believable, let's just put it that way. 6 kills between Luki as well as Nash, 3 from Yato and Blue, a total of 9 for the team, 19 points in total if you take into account the 10 placement points that they pick up for themselves. Vagabonds Esports dominant as ever, 2 back-to-back rounds now they secure, and right behind them, talk about consistency, Dow Conqueror stepping it up once again, Sekre and Blank this time providing the numbers, 12 points overall in that second spot. If you add in the placement points as well. Armin and Rosina, we talked about this. Kuki was about to wake up. The guy's woken up already. A little bit sleepy earlier on. This time he provides 4 for the squad. 2 picked up here by Zimiru as well as KKPG put together. 4 Kings, on the other hand, could only depend on instinct for the slays. He instinctually tagged up all of those players, but the placement points is what we focus on. They got into that final circle. Fantastic play from them. Riley Esports, massive number of kills to their side on the other hand here, Neptune.
It's 14 kills already in here from Riley Esports, and this is what we asked for, because this is a team that can really put it up the fight against Vagabonds Esports, a challenge that they can do. It's just unfortunate that a lot of teams are taking their usual position and they are being pushed down, and later on surviving not even enough to push out Vagabonds Esports from their prime location, but still good start from them. They are taking a little bit in the books of some of the teams, and I would say Vagabonds Nomads going for the slay right now, and with the survivability, it really doesn't matter if you have this much kills. But for 8XP, on the other hand, 8XP AP Eternals. Not so much in the kills right now, only 5 to their name, but a good stride for them. They can maintain or probably maintain the spot in here in the top 5 of the leaderboard later on, especially as we've seen some of the teams who are trying to catch up in the points, really not doing it. But from the 7th place right now, not so much. They have taken the high ground earlier on compared to the others, but Pabi has missed a lot of those potential slays from the high ground, and it's only Zeus who will able to convert in here 7 on the points and not so much in the placement points for them. Similar has happened for ABC Mystic AJ, this time 0 onto the kills.
Yeah, you know, NRX 420, they used to be able to just maneuver around and purely dominate with their gun skills. But now I have to once again repeat, you have to prioritize strategy over mechanical capability. Everybody knows how to engage already. So you have to find your pathing and maneuvering in towards circle after circle in the most safest of manners. Avoid everybody. I mean, NASA Vanguard wasn't a very powerful team now, were they, Neptune? But how was it that Winter consistently picked up that second spot, 6 placement points again and again and again and again and again? Because they very smartly avoided engagement, brought in those jackals, played the placement points, and they outshined the performance of NRX 420. How? Strategy. That's what the team needs to start focusing on. How can they strat their way up to the top to secure the most amount of this prize pool that they can possibly get their hands on? ABC Mystic needs to do the exact same for themselves. Earlier on, they buffed up all of their points just through kills, but this time at the 8th spot, a single placement point is what they will get and nothing else. NRX 432, no placement points, but a total of 4 kills gives them 4 kill points. Vitas picks up 3 for themselves. Almighty Prime, this is the kind of a case of bombing out that we don't want to see if they want to be one of those contenders for the top spot against Vagabonds Esports. A total of 6 kills this time around. And of course, AXP Kratos down here at the 12th spot with a decent number of kills to their name in 7.
And for AXP Kratos, I think it's more of their rotation, the luck that they go in against the different teams every time they rotate, especially in that battle in Sakura wherein we saw Ninji getting in for the slays before being taken down. So rotation-wise, if you know you have the mechanical skills, capability, and it's still going back to what AJ mentioned, the strats part of your playbook. You need to focus on rotation and target other members of the teams or the whole team in there that will be dropping near your area. If you know their drop points, if you study their drop points, you will understand how will they rotate. It can be either way, 1, 2, 3, and with that plan, you can have your rotation coincide with that plan and probably get a lot of kills in the process, AJ.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. The one thing that I don't understand is the chat section defaulting back to accusations, but the accusations needs to be fair across the board, guys, because, you know, if you feel like one is sus, you might have that same suspicious eye watching over each and every single team in the competition with that exact same level of suspicion. I would highly recommend you guys do that, because if you want to undermine the performance of certain teams, but not the rest that you are personally in support of, I think that's a little bit too much, don't you think so? I think you have to be fair and square to all of the teams out there when you judge, and try to not throw so much of shade onto them, because at the end of the day, it's a game of performance and you really have to work your way up. But when you look at the chat segment as a pro player, sometimes, you know, it downs your morale, it downs some of that spirit that you have in you when you've got your best being put out there, but others are trying to talk you down and, you know, undo whatever performance you brought out there on the battlefield just with words, Neptune.
And there's one thing about that as well is if they're calling out sus and it's only biased to only the teams that they're not supporting, it's a little bit suspicious as well. So that's one thing. That's one thing that they really need to be thinking of. It will not do any justice to the teams that you're supporting if you're only focusing on the mistake of the other teams and not in all fairness to everyone. Like just one team that you're targeting, I don't know. It's not how this should be. It isn't that how the community should be aiming for. It needs to be aiming for fairness as well as all eyes and equality for everyone, for every team. It doesn't mean, AJ, that they don't support a team, then they are the bad guys at this point. So they need to be thinking about that, pretty much.
Yeah, and hopefully they do start thinking differently, but of course I think we are fighting against the current here. It's going to be the game of numbers against our words as usual, Neptune, but hopefully a little bit of sense is picked up by some of the audience who are pretty one-sided with the way they want to shut others down. And I hope they all remember that they can put their teams on a pedestal without bringing the other squads down. At the end of the day, you just need to give your own team love and just watch what others do. And you don't really need to look at them and try to bring them down from wherever they stand. Down here towards the bottom, speaking of how teams go down, these teams stay down with a little bit of non-performance on their side. ENE Phoenix, the terrible performance seems to continue to drag on for this team.